is lie on your side with your feet on the wall, and you're gonna lift your belly just a little bit, okay? So you're gonna make sure your ribs aren't completely flaring out. So let's bring that rib cage in just a little and lift. All right, so you can see, actually it's a very, very tight core now. All right, now give me just a nice deep breath into your back body, Ashley. Perfect, fully expanding that diaphragm front and back, that's perfect. All right, now I want you to think about pushing your hip toward the wall. Very good. When you do that, try not to arch your back, okay? Very good. Okay, so the biggest mistake I see with this is people will let their hip hike up toward their head, and hip hikers tend to really overuse their TFLs a lot. All right, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna push this hip toward the wall, then you're gonna give me a nice squeeze, engaging your adductor, your inner thigh, your groin muscle, all right? So get that adductor firing, and then you're gonna think about pulling back, pulling your leg back, bringing your femur into the socket, okay? Good, and take a break. That was perfect, actually, and this is a very hard exercise to execute. So cheaters, you don't want your TFL to fire, or your quad, and you don't want your hamstring to fire, and you do not want to clench your glute. All right, so glute clenchers that tend to tighten their pelvic floors and tighten their glutes in a bad way. They prevent that femur from moving back into the socket because this glute is so clenched and tight, and it doesn't make any space. All right, and that's part of what creates the whole hip pain and hip problem to begin with. All right, so you do not want to feel anything back here. You'll feel a little bit of glute medius activation and maybe a stretch across your glutes. So that's fabulous. All right, so no hip flexor, no quad, no hamstring. Squeeze the block and then gently pull back. Perfect, thinking about sliding the femur. Keep going if you can a little further. Perfect, thinking about sliding the femur back in the socket. And if you can notice, Ashley's not moving anything through her waist. So this is a literal slide of the femur in the socket. Amazing results for hip impingement. Now, this exercise, if you have a major hip problem and you're not really connecting well with your hip, this exercise can be pretty much impossible to execute. So I want to go over a quick regression with you that makes it a little bit easier to do and can get this muscle kicking in, and then you can give the PRI exercise a try. So flip over on your hands and knees for me, Ashley. Perfect. So what we're going to do here is we're going to still think about bringing the hip into the socket. So you're going to keep your toes connected to the ground. Bring your head up in line with your body, tucking your chin. Wonderful, nice neutral spine, good. And then what I'm gonna have you do is think about lifting your knee off the ground, bringing your hip up. Very good, and you guys can see how she is bringing her hip. Good, try the other side for me. Very good. Now ways I see cheating is instead of lifting the hip, people will shift. So shift way over and then try to lift your hip. So they'll shift way over and lift. All right, this isn't getting any gliding in that socket like we need the femur to move. All right, you're simply shifting, which is then coming out in your lumbar spine, and it's not good for your back. All right, this segment's supposed to be stable so these hips can be mobile. All right, so go ahead and lift again for me. So you're just simply lifting up. Try to make sure you keep a ton of length in your trunk for this exercise so that you're not hiking your hip up toward your head. Remember how that hiking is bad. So try this regression, super easy, then try the PRI exercise. A little more complicated to execute, but produces great results.